Okay, hey everybody. I am live, ready to read aloud to you. I'm so sorry that this all took so long. Hold on one second. I'm just posting to everybody's Google Classroom. There's lots of resources today. Okay. Okay. I hope you had a great day. Hopefully, it gave you enough time to work on your other stuff so that the rest of the day can be worked through for language arts. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm here live to answer your questions. I really need to start seeing some evidence, though, of you working in your book clubs. So please work in your book clubs. If you want to schedule a book club meeting where I'm involved in it on Zoom, just let me know. Otherwise, we can set up a flip grid. We can do a whole bunch of different things. I just need your input on it. You know what I mean? I don't want to just pick something and then you're not interested in it. So I know that a lot of you may not be on right now, but I will still read it and you'll be able to watch it later. So this chapter is called Chinese Shoes. And here we go. Fiona was alone. She walked toward Bearskin Neck and I followed her. Keeping a few paces behind, I wanted to talk to her, except I didn't really feel like talking to anyone. She wore olive pants and a white t-shirt that were both probably from the men's section of the Army Navy store. Her hair was wet, like she was just out of the shower. She carried a small black purse, the kind that was just big enough to hold a passport. I didn't own a purse. After rounding the bend, she ducked into the Chinese import shop. I waited outside for a few minutes on the treeless road, wondering whether I should go in. I knew there was no hiding from Fiona in that tiny store. I took a breath and turned the doorknob. A bell rang over my head, and I closed the door behind me. And the shop was crowded with racks of t-shirts, but there were also tiny satin pouches and silk pajamas with high collars. The reds and blues were as bright as oil paints. Fiona, hey guys, I see there's about 4 of you on. Fiona was at the counter speaking with Mrs. Wong, the woman who owned the store. The red one, said Fiona. Size 8? Asked Mrs. Wong. Yep. I'll help you next, Lucy, said Mrs. Wong, disappearing into the back of the store. Fiona turned around and looked down the center aisle to where I was standing just inside the shop. Hi, she said, surprised to see me. Fiona was holding one of my favorite canvas shoes, the Chinese Mary Jane slippers. I'd probably owned a dozen pairs since I was a kid. My mom had bought them for me when I was little. At some point, I just started asking Dad for money to buy new pairs. I love those shoes, I said. Me too, she said. Fiona looked a little tired. Fiona persuaded me to get an ice cream with her, and we walked to the end of Bearskin Neck with our cones. The ice cream slid down easily, and I started wondering whether I could survive on ice cream alone. How are you doing? She asked. Okay, I said, looking at my hand. When I didn't elaborate, she added, What's that book? Shark Anatomy, I said. What are you doing with it? She said, licking a drip from the bottom of her cone. I told her about how I'd been working on the field guide, the one she'd thrown out of Fred's window, and how Fred and I had wanted to create a section for Sookie's shark. I explained that I wanted to get the drawings just right, but I thought it might help to understand the shark inside and out. Your projects are always so interesting, she said. Well, they were usually Fred's projects, I said. She shrugged. But I'm kind of into it now, I said. It's kind of overlapping with my mom's work. She predicted that the great whites would start heading north. Really? Said Fiona. Yeah, I found this research proposal she'd written before she died, I said. It explains everything, but some of the details are a little over my head. You could bring it to Miss Solomon. I guess so, I said, remembering Miss Solomon outside the church at the funeral. Fiona looked a little distracted, like something was buzzing inside. Are you okay? I'm okay, she said. Just worried about my mom, and Bridget's never around anymore. I nodded. How are you doing this? How are you doing this? She said, her brow wrinkling. Your mom and then Fred. I can't even deal with it with Fred. While I was thinking about Fiona had said, I started choking on my ice cream cone. Are you okay? Fiona asked. Yeah, it's normal, since the accident anyway. I added. She looked puzzled. It's my brain, I said. For some reason, I'm afraid I'll choke on my food, but then I make myself choke thinking about it. Remember the night in Fred's room when you threw his backpack out the window? Yes. And I thought I was going to barf? That was whatever this is, I said. She nodded and took a bite of her cone. I used to be afraid of germs. Like, if the flu or the stomach bug was going around school, I would be freaking out. I don't remember that, I said, watching her swallow. Not anymore? A little, but it's much better. How did it get better? I tried to imagine the worst that could happen, like getting the flu or barfing for a couple of days. She took another bite. In the end, it just doesn't seem like that big of a deal, unless you die from the flu, but that's rare. This book is like way too real right now. I don't know anyone who's died from the flu, I said. Me neither, she said. We walked to the end of the peninsula and made the loop back past the break wall and the wide ocean. I didn't figure it out on my own, though, she said. I talked to Mr. Scanlon. Do you know him? The adjustment counselor at your school? I nodded. He lives by the mill pond, she nodded. She nodded. I tossed the last of my cone in the garbage and shifted the shark anatomy book, but the postcards fell onto the ground. Fiona popped the end of her cone into her mouth and wiped her hands. We both kneeled down to pick up the cards. These are cool, she said. I love the mermaid. Take it, I said, handing the postcard to her. I wanted to ask her if she thought I was nuts for writing to Fred, but I didn't. Thanks, she said. She smiled as she took the card, but her face changed. She stared at my chest. I lifted my hand to the spot and I felt Fred's gold necklace. It must have fallen out of my shirt when I picked up the cards. What's that? She asked. It's a necklace, I said. I found it in Fred's backpack. It felt like a confession, as though I had stolen something that now belonged to Fred's family. She reached out and I felt chills on the back of my neck as her nails slid over my cotton shirt. She gently pulled the pendant toward her for a closer look. Wow, it's beautiful, she said. Another mermaid. I nodded. Why did he have this? She whispered. I don't know, I said. Do you think he wanted to give it to you? She asked. I shrugged. Did he ever say anything to you? I mean, about me? I asked. All the time, she said. But not like what you're asking. I used to annoy him about girls, but he never gave up any info. She looked me in the eye and let go of the necklace. Then her brow wrinkled again. What's it hanging from? Is that thread? It's dental floss, I said. Cinnamon dental floss. She shook her head. You need something stronger than that. I know, I said. We walked back down the neck. We walked back down the neck toward home. Who else would understand your mom's research paper? Fiona asked. Your dad? Maybe. I didn't really like I didn't really feel like asking Dad about it. My mom wrote it with a teacher of hers. I was kind of thinking of asking him about it, only I'd have to go to Maine to see him in person because he has dementia. Well, it's a long story. You should go, she said. Seriously? That's not weird? No, she said. I mean, his memory isn't going to get any better. What if he can tell you something about the project that no one else knows? I nodded, but my dad can't drive because of his foot. That is a problem, she said. I'd take you myself, but I just went back to work last week. What about Sookie? I gave her a look. Seriously? At home, I opened the White Shark Anatomy book on the kitchen table. I slurped on a lime popsicle, continuing my quest to survive on frozen treats, and leafed through the pages, wondering which part to draw next. I put the popsicle in a glass and flipped through my sketchbook for a clean page. But halfway through, I paused the moon snail drawings. I stopped breathing when I saw Fred's hand wrap around the huge snail shell, his thin wrist and bulky watch. I remembered his fingers pulling the leaf out of my hair, making my head spin. He was alive then, just a few pages before now. I stared at the sketch until my vision started to double. I found the first blank page on the pad. I made myself look at the anatomy book and I focused on the same picture for a while. I knew how the backbone worked, which really wasn't bones, and now I decided to try to make sense of the fins. A caption explained that the fins were what made the shark an efficient swimmer. I drew a dorsal fin on top and the back fin on the bottom to prevent the shark from rolling side to side when it was moving forward. I drew a pectoral fin on the side and a pelvic fin on the bottom to help the shark fin move up and down. I gave it a strong caudal fin, a tail, to to allow the shark to swim side to side and propel it forward. The fins all had different jobs, like the wings of an airplane. While I still thought my mom was crazy for swimming with sharks, I wondered what it would look like to see those fins in action, to see a shark moving through the water. Still, my great white looked like it was frozen on the page, a sandbag, accessorized by some deluxe fins. I wanted my drawing to look like it could swim to life with its torpedo body launching the shark at the speed of a car. I wondered which lines of were the most important lines of the shark's shape. Which one made it a great white? And where did that powerful energy come from? I pulled out the fish postcard. On it, I drew a pencil sketch of a shark, labeling the fins. Over the sketch, I wrote another note to Fred. Ran into Fiona in Mrs. Wong's shop. This is going to sound nuts, but are you sending me a great white every time I send you a postcard? The kayaker chaser, the bait thief, just wondering. And she draws a picture. I don't know if any of you can see of the great white. And that's where we're going to end. Next chapter says when Sookie steps in. How many of you should I read over spring break too? I mean, that would be the only thing I would post would be my read alouds. Or should I just resume them after spring break? Those of you who are watching, maybe you can answer. Read over spring break or wait? Anyone there? Yeah, Mickey, you want me to read over spring break? I'm assuming no one's going anywhere, right? Read over spring break. Okay, I can do that. I'll try to do at least a chapter a day. If I don't, I might do two since we're on spring break, and that would be the only kind of work we would be doing. Okay, cool. How's everybody doing today? Surviving? Did you have a lot of work from your other teachers? Okay, thanks. I will, Madison. How are those solar panels doing? Does everyone have enough toilet paper? Yay, I'm glad they're done. That's so cool. I wish I had solar panels. Yes. Oh, Izzy, you don't know if you have enough? Well, if you run out, the shower works just fine. People really don't need toilet paper. Just saying. Ugh. Does anyone miss being at school? Because I do. I miss seeing all your faces. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. If you have, yeah, I know. If you have any questions, please let me know. I do really want you to try to record some kind of conversation with your book clubs. I like laughing. I don't know why, but I want to go back. I know. At least just in my class, right? I mean, we don't have to go to anyone else's class. Just come to my class. We're safe, right? Safe from the buffoons. Just kidding. If any of you want to do a Zoom and have me present, just let me know. Send me the link that you're going to host, and I'll be present in it and make sure that that would be counted as your like conversation with your book club. Otherwise, you can take on Google Docs. You can take notes on your what's it called? Your notebook, and you can all like do like a collage of your notebooks if you wanted to. I just need some kind of evidence that you guys are still talking to each other. And if you know anybody who hasn't been able to access my videos, please let me know. Safe from the hallways. Well, good thing that they're cleaning the heck out of that school right now. They're good to go. I think that school is probably the cleanest it's ever been right now. Okay, great. If you can, I'm gonna put into Google Classroom like an assignment that says book club conversations. So all of your conversations can go right in there. And Mickey, did you guys like color code it or send me some kind of like system that tells me like who typed what? Does that make sense? Like Mickey typed this, um, and your other classmates typed the other parts. Okay, awesome. I knew you would. You guys are so good. That's awesome. Very good. Okay, well, do you have any questions? If not, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. I miss you guys. Hopefully, we can do a Zoom chat sometime soon, or maybe we'll do a Flipgrid. So I don't know what you guys sound like anymore. I haven't heard your voices in a while. So that's why I keep saying, like, add a video so I can hear you. Because you guys get my voice all the time. Not that interesting. Anyways, um, yeah. So tomorrow's Friday, the day before spring break. Woohoo! I'll read over spring break for you and we will be good to go. Miss you guys and stay well.